Back home. Well, we had a good service today at church, and it's about tithing. If anything anybody wants to hear, it ain't about tithing when you go to church, right? Of course, there's nothing in the Bible that says you have to give 10%. I mean, not, especially not in the New Testament. Giving 10%, you know. You get what you can as you are able, But some churches stick with the 10% thing, and that's for their prerogative. You know, they can do what they want. But it's been a good practice to do them 10%. I mean, really though, I don't try to go for 10%. Sometimes I do. If I got a lot more money, I go for more than 10%. And it's pretty warm out here today, considering it's 82 degrees. Right here. Can't really see what I'm looking at. There's a glare. I say, hey, Herb. But anyway, I know I'm not worth 2 cents. Because it hurt, boy. I had $30 in my pocket. Shoot. And I got out of there. It's like I was already late coming to church and everything. And because I overslept a little bit. But I tell you what, it was a good sleep. I slept real good because I had my sleep mask on. And I had my filter hibernate over my ears and over my eyes. Shoot, man, I slept good. What are you talking about? Neighbor over there. But anyway, I'm not worth 2 cents. I'm not. Lord help me, because all the times I messed up and I've been so selfish about myself, and I do still get that way. Don't we all though? We get selfish about ourselves. We think about us. We don't think about others who might be in need. You know what I mean? And that's a daily thing. And you know, like people in Puerto Rico got hit by the hurricane there. You know, and well, when I think it was the mayor or something other was kind of giving a little bit of lip about it, and President Trump put him in his place or something. One of those things that happen. We ought to be humble, you know. We ought to be a little bit more appreciative to what God has given. It's not what the U.S. government can give us. It's what God has given us. I mean, if you got a home, or if you don't have a home, and you got clothes in your back, and you got food in your belly, you know, it's good to be content therewith. You know, and even saying that now, I feel this cool breeze. Boy, that feels good. Whew. And hey. Anyway, but we forget about the small stuff sometimes. I forget about the small stuff. Sometimes we ain't worth the 2 cents that we have. You know what I mean? We our values, our thoughts are evil, and our morals are not great. But we forget God sometimes. We forget that the Lord Himself saw a woman put in 2 mites. And for us to do that, and sometimes it kills us, you know what I mean? For us to give to the Lord, it kills us. It's terrible, you know? And some give just to impress others, but others give to, you know, whatever they give in their need. They don't give out of their abundance, to give out of their need. And I don't know, I guess that's why sometimes, like, from October to like about middle of the summer, I had enough money to do what I wanted to do. I even bought stuff that really I didn't even need. And some things, you know, didn't end up giving some of it away. And for what? You know, I said, Lord, I like this. I'm gonna get that. You know, the Lord didn't say nothing about it. He was like, you know, He didn't say anything. And I see now, hindsight's 2020. You buy stuff you don't need, you end up paying for it in the long run. And even if you buy stuff you do need, then the things that, you know, the Lord wants to do with that money, even when you buy the stuff you do need, the things the Lord wants to do with you in that money, or whatever it might be. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be the 2 cent. It can be your time and your talents and stuff, or just going out there and just telling somebody about the Lord, or just going out there to be a helping hand to somebody. You know, it doesn't matter, because we're all called to preach. And you know, I was cutting full with the pastor over there earlier yesterday. Well, early this morning, 12 o'clock in the morning. I said, you know, I said something other about people preaching over there. I said, you know, something about, was it 1 Corinthians 13, 26, 33, about people bringing the word and stuff, and bringing the psalm and such, and that and the other. I said, I don't mean to be blunt, and to put a smiley face. I said, but the pastor and the deacons and so, and they ain't the only one that preaches, you know. There's other can come with a word, come with a story, and then I throw my thumb up and smiley face. He knew what I meant. I didn't know who was going to do it. Begin doing it this morning, so anyway, I got there and everything. It was a pastor. What in the world? But anyway, my son's going off on a trip, some wildwood place in North Carolina with my brother in the Lord. He works at Mayfield and everything, and he's got a handful of kids. Him and his wife feed him. I said, well, thanks. I said, need any money? He's like, no, we got them. And who's talking to me? Anyway, I ain't worth 2 pennies. I'm not. Because the good that I would do, that do I not. The things that I want to do to really try and to be sent of God to help others, I'm not even worth it. And I complain, I carry on. Why? You know, my mama tells me, she said, how did she put it? She said, man, what's the word she used to call it? She said, she goes, how'd she say it? She says, you're so cheap. In other words, because when I see something that's highly expensive, I don't want to buy it. I said, well, thanks to JoJo, I'm raised up like that with my step-grandfather, which I consider like a father. He says, you're so darn cheap. You know, I was like, well, I can't help it. You know, but I'm not cheap when it comes to buying something that I want, but I'm cheap to come buying something other that's too much. I'd rather have a secondary brand to it, you know, and that just trips my mom out. But me and her are so much alike, it's crazy. But anyway, we ought to be doing that, though. We ought to be caring for one another and appreciating each other a lot more. And it's not so much we can do it in and of ourselves. It's the Holy Spirit in us that does it. And we ought to be more available to Him so He can do it through us and in us. You know what I mean? We ought to be more available to give even what we can, even beyond what we can, to ministries that are really truly going out there and they're making a difference. One ministry comes to mind, local church, not local church, but church Bible publishers. They needing money to get paper so they can print King James Bibles, not the kind that you find in the store, but the kind that you find that are quality printed, the quality published. Thanks. But you know, things like that, and that's one of my focuses. And sometimes I try to give to help somebody out there in the Philippines and everything, and a brother out there, and I try to buy some Bibles for him, and he buys the Bibles, and I've given to a brother from England. He buys Bibles and he takes them there. So I think it's a really important thing to have the brothers ministered to there in the Philippines and wherever else, you know. There's one guy out of Mauritius Island, and wanting a couple of Bibles and stuff. I'm like, just a couple? Why not 3 or 4? Now, why am I not 7 or 8 or 9 or 10? But the issues they have there with the Catholics and Muslims is kind of hard to do that, you know. And so I just need a few at a time. And I like helping people. I like doing that. I used to do that quite a bit, and I still want to do it, to buy Bibles and stuff and just give them away, you know, things like that. And there's a brother at church. He was trying to get a Bible for the jail ministry. He has give him a leather Bible, but see, they only can take leather Bibles, the leather Bibles, not the bonded leather, not the imitation or anything like that. It's got to be real leather, you know. Can't have no handwriting in it or nothing like that. So they're real funny about it, how they get stuff over there in the jail. I remember before I started even reading the King James Bible, I took a whole bunch of them over there, man. I just like, hey, have all these, and they sure put them underneath the desk for us. Okay, there were all kind of versions. Now thinking back, I could kick myself on the butt for doing that. There might have been a few King Jameses in there, but there was more New Age versions than there were King James. That's for sure. But anyway, we take for granted. Hey, you tied up on that thing, buddy? We take for granted our times and our offerings and you know, things like that. Our offering of what we can give to the Lord. We say, well, I don't have enough of this. I don't have enough of that. But all we need to do is speak the word, right? Speak the word. We are more abundant in the word than anything. It doesn't have to be money, or it doesn't have to be a resource. Just speak it. If we are living, if we're standing up, if we can breathe, we can speak the word. We can go to somebody and show them, you know, God's love and God's greatness, and God's trust. Or trust in Him, and how we can show others how to trust in the Lord just by speaking the word. And but you can believe this: God doesn't need to trust in us. We need to trust in God. God is totally self-sufficient in everything He does and everything He is. So we don't need His trust. We need to trust in Him. You know, because you know, He's, like I say, He's self-sufficient. I mean, if God needed to trust man for everything He did, He wouldn't be God. You know what I mean? So when we're saying God we trust, we ought to actually let it mean something, especially when it's on the back of our dollar bill. You know what I mean? If it's on our money, that's where we need to put the trust in. We need to put the trust in God. Because if we're trusting in man will fail. Man will let us down. And I think Herbert's ready to go inside. And but we ourselves, we aren't worth 2 cents. We aren't worth 2 pennies if we trust in ourselves. You know what I mean? If we trust in what we think we have, even that will be taken away from us. And even what we have. But if we trust in the Lord, who's abundant in all things by the power of His Spirit, He can use anything. He can use 10 cents. And the pastor that was talking about Berry College, that Ford sent the person who was asking for some money and sent them 10 cents. They turned that around to make it into a peanut crop, and she sent a proceed of that back to Ford. And he was so moved by it, he came and look and see how she's doing and everything, and turned out he gave her $3 million to build a college, Berry College. Isn't that something? Just 10 cents. 10 cents did that. Even 2 cents can go a long way, as we've seen with the widow's mite. The 2 penny worth, 2 pennies. That's all it took. Her faith and trust in God. That's all her living. That was all she had. And she took it and she put it into the box. And God can work with 2 cents. God can work with a half of, that was a farthing. And God can take a penny. He can take 2 pennies. And like the brother said, He can take a dime. He can take $1. And just like with a talent, God, The guy who invested 5 talents, he brought back more than that, 10 talent. Yeah. So I mean, God can do anything He wants. He's God. He can speak to us, through us with money. He can speak to us and through us and by us, for us with other resources. Even me with a scratching back, itching back rather. He can take anything and make it. He can even take New Age Version Bibles and make it to His glory. I know that. We all know that, right? And He can get the glory for it because He had through me. I was reading NCV, NLT, NCV first, NLT. I was Presbyterian. I was first going to a Baptist church when I was a lot younger. Then I started going to a Presbyterian church in my adult life. Then I came back to a Baptist. Come full circle. And I've been trying to get my mom down there. She's like, I'm a Methodist. I don't want to go to a Baptist church. I said, doesn't matter if you're a Methodist. I was a Presbyterian for a while, Mom. Come on. But anyway, just wanted to share that. I don't know how much you might get out of it. You might not get 2 cents worth out of it, out of this message, out of this, video rather. But I'm hoping and praying that it might affect somebody because God has a lot to do with us. And I was there the other night at work. I'm going to tell you the truth. I was at work and I heard the same story. Somebody come on the radio preaching about tithings and offerings and things like that. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to hear this. It hurt. It hurts to get down in your pocket, right? Because I don't have enough to give. I don't have hardly anything. And it's not so even much money. Not so much money that we give or that the Lord wants. I mean, it's not even that really. It's our heart. It's our obedience. It's our trust in Him, right? That's what it is. Where you going, Herb? That's what He wants. He wants our trust in Him. Because if we trust Him, we'll obey Him. And trusting God when it comes to giving of our time or our talents or even money, it's a hard thing to do. Because it might take us out of our comfort zone. And that hurts. We don't like that. And but God can do a whole lot with it. He can do more than we can with it if we just show up and speak the word. If we speak the word, if we show up by faith, go where He wants us to and speak the word, somebody might be get saved. It doesn't matter whether it's just one person. It doesn't matter. Somebody might be a faith. Somebody can not be thinking about it, but when they get home, they see something, a certain thing or certain person on TV or something that they're reading. It can automatically click, and it's all in God's timing. It's all in His timing, not our timing. We're too busy. All right, if I go and do this, that, and the other, and I want it to be just the way I want it, somebody's got to get saved. Well, they might not get saved right then and there, but somebody else they can run into just because of that seed that was planted. They can come to the Lord. You never know. But anyway, it's a great thing. It's just, we'll never know of the testimonies until we get there of the Lord, what the Lord, when we stand before the judgment seat, of all the testimonies that we will hear, of all the testimonies that others will say, hey, do you know what you did? Did you know I got saved so-and-so, this, that, and the other because of what you said? And it might not seem to nothing to you, but man, it really was a lot to me. Or what you didn't think would happen, happened. And, and so things like that. Special things where we don't know how something will bless somebody, will bless them. And just as we just show up and do God's will. We're not perfect at doing it, and God can always turn. Okay? God, like a big old tricycle. God can always turn things around. He can always turn it around for His glory. So, it doesn't matter as a negative thing. He can turn it around for His glory. And that's the most important thing. God be glorified. So, hey, there's my 2 cents. You can do with it what you want. God bless you. Take care. See you later.